something important to discuss this morning. It's been a while we heard from him. The last time I had a conversation with him, he said he was going to learn something and come back. And finally that has been done. The last time I saw the certificate was on Facebook, and I was just reading small on his one and said, hey, my boss is back. Scofray Nana Yaw Yeboah is here with me this morning, and we're just about having a very important conversation: the influence of mastermind and how it shapes us. You know, I don't born in any baby from Tim, and we talk about how there are so many sciences out there, but we're not taking advantage of them. Maybe we don't know. This morning he's here to just open our minds to all of that. Senior, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Yeah. And congratulations as well for graduating the first ever on this soil. Yeah, so look at the pictures. So this is the human brain and other things that we are seeing in there. To the educators, we all learn. Today is class on class. It's like about having classes. Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah,
one.
class on class. So stay with us. The influence of Mastermind, how it shapes us. There's always the science behind Mastermind. Join us on Facebook. It's Class 913 FM. We are live on Facebook. Join us there. Let's have your questions. You have a question for him. Let's have your questions coming through as well. 0500,202. Those of you that have sent your messages a long time and have not read them, don't worry. I'll do today. We're going somewhere to like 11 a.m. before end the show. Let's get into the action. Just try to understand the science of the human brain and human mind. You are a phenomenon in that space. How masterminding shapes us. I beg, make you break it down small giveaway. When we talk about masterminding, what is it?
Thank you, Kofi. It's a delight to be here once again. And this morning you've been on fire. I was monitoring. I was wondering what has triggered my brother to go on that tangent, but it's all part of the job.
Yeah.
So, mastermind as a word goes back as far as 1927. And it came out of the work of Napoleon Hill, who was on the quest to understand why do some great people do what they do and how are they able to get results as it is required. And out of that research, he spoke to over hundreds of billionaires, successful people who have done great things. And one of the 13 principles he coded was mastermind. And if you look at people like Thomas Edison, the one who invented Ford, and all of them alluded to a fact that they belong to a mastermind. Then you want to break the word into two: mind and master. A lot of time, for the lack of the knowledge of it, we are quick to equate the brain of the head to mean mind.
Okay.
But the brain is part of the mind, so you cannot interchange it. So in reference to the mind, you are talking about the head, which encapsulates what the brain is, including your eyes. Then below the head to your toe. So it means you have a brain and a body. And the functionality of these two is what puts out there, we call it the mind. So in somatic coaching, when we say the mind, we are not referring to your brain. We are referring to both your brain and the other aspect of the entire body.
Wow.
So the mastering of this is what we refer as what? Mastermind. Meaning peer-to-peer, people of like-minded. If you check, the definition is not people of like brains, but people of like-minded. So, for instance, you are into broadcast journalism. I am into coaching. Somebody is into football. Somebody else is in business. Various facets of backgrounds and careers. Then we share a certain way we look at life. We call it worldview. If we have something underpinning, for instance, let's say we don't believe that we are incapable of becoming the best in our fields. It's one belief. It's how we see the world. It becomes like minded, then these 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of us say, because of that underpinning, let's come together and begin to explore the depth we are. So in ontology, we say that we are more than just thinking beings. We are far just more than that. So that was what Napoleon Hill dug deep into and realized that all the most outstanding influential people at that era, and I'm referring to the book Think and Grow Rich, all of these people belong to a mastermind of also accomplished people. And what is so beautiful about Mastermind is that in Mastermind, we don't think, behave in competition.
Okay.
But we evoke contribution. So Napoleon Hill said that anywhere like-minded people meet, a third mind is created.
Anywhere like-minded people meet,
a third mind
is created. Okay.
And that is where some of us with the background we call it quantum being. In the sense that when you and I come together, and you know, it's so interesting. When you read the scriptures, it says, the Bible says that where 2 or 3 meet in my name, I am there. It's the same principle, that where you and I, more than 3 people, meet in like-mindedness, something else comes forth. That's what Napoleon called the third mind. Meaning a third being emerges. That is why you will need to be very careful the spaces you go into. The networks you go into, the rooms, the kind of meetings, the kind of brainstormings and stuff you go into, because whatever it is, a third mind emerges. And if you don't have what we call the concentration and vibration, you are not able to operate in certain dimension of your abilities. You can tap into what is available. It wouldn't even manifest there. And by the time you realize, you are downplaying it where you are going. That is how comes sometimes. You go into space where people are fighting and they are shouting. You try even to separate them. What you don't know is a later time, maybe a few hours later and something, you realize you find yourself being angry the whole day. You don't know why. You have tapped into the third mind of anger. That
energy within that
created.
Okay. I've heard people say, me, I don't like bad energy. I prefer positive energy.
Yes, and you need to be aware of what we are saying. That is recently the leading #1 executive coach, Mark Thompson, said that during the pandemic era, a lot of leaders were going through turmoil. So he created a space using his Executive Alliance project to bring in over thousands of executive leaders across the globe. 4,500, 40,000, 5,100, they were all. Why? When they enter into that mastermind, they are not there to compete each other's idea. They are there to be vulnerable, to share and explore and shape themselves so they can go back to their workplace, their families, and become functional, responsible human beings. So, mastermind is not only the meeting of even people, it is also the creation of an environment where these people who come in can become vulnerable and explore the greatest side of their being. But what Napoleon Hill may not have factored into the third mind, and now science is calling it quantum physics, quantum leadership, and we in ontology are saying quantum being, is that he thought the mind was just created, but there is the science and the chemistry as to how that is created. So, for instance, when I go into spaces, I will want to scan the environment and know what is the third mind there. I want to scan. How do you want to scan? The languaging of the people you are sitting with. There are some people, when you meet them and you don't increase your resonation of optimism, by the time you leave that their domain, my brother, your energy is so zapped that you are so empty because they speak so much of negativity, complaints. So basically, that is what Mastermind is, where like-minded people agree in principle, in non-disclosure agreement, that when we meet, we choose to be vulnerable and allow ourselves to explore. We don't even need to be in the same trade. We don't need to be in the same career. But the fact that we have something, what we call worldview in common, how we see the world, the binoculars through which we see the world. I was talking to somebody recently about this lady who was lynched to death in Nigeria.
In Nigeria, Deborah.
Yes, Deborah. And my friend Isaac Cladd couldn't come to terms. Why? How could a human being? And I said, there is a science to this that we hardly want to talk about. You know, this our eye. This. They are only filters. They are only lenses. They are only filters and lenses. What this eye see actually is embedded in a part of your brain already. How it sees it and interprets it, it's already embedded there. So, the people who did that belong to group of people where they've gone through years of programming. And it's the same way Mastermind works. It can be used for what is positive. It can be used for what is life-taking.
Okay.
So then you ask yourself, the groups you go into, do you give life to your career, your personal development, your responsibility, and the spaces you go into, do you get this? We call it life-giving. Or the spaces you go into, by the time you are done, you are tired, you feel your steam is so low and stuff, that is life-taking. So Mastermind is a double-edged sword. But in our practice, in what we do, we encourage Mastermind because it becomes a support. I think we can all speak about this. Despite and his club at East Legon.
Yes, the executive men's club.
Okay, it's a beautiful thing. It's so beautiful. There are others that exist in the journalism field, but it's so broken into minute spaces. But it becomes potent, purposeful, directed when the Mastermind sessions are moderated by a coach. Because the coach is not there to tell you what to do, direct you to how you must think. The coach is there to hold the space and moderate. Because, for instance, if you are speaking a sporting language, because that is what you do, you are a broadcast journalist, and in a Mastermind, how I will know you are a journalist will come from even the words, your choice of words. So assuming I'm not a fraternity in the journalism as a coach, I will be able to moderate. Okay, if you say a word, I can look for a synonym which will mean something common for the other people who may not be a journalist.
Okay.
That is why most amazing masterminds are moderated by coaches. Because we hold the space for the third mind to come forth. That becomes a collective. And we are exploring our life so well, so much that neuroscience has come to bed. That is where the issue of the quantum being and the third mind, as we are referring to, comes to. It's not that we cut our human part and put it together and say there's a
third being being created.
No, it's not it. The human brain generates its own waves. Look, human beings in engineering would have been like antennas. Human beings in engineering, we are like antennas. We both receive signal and also send signal.
Do you receive, you emit?
Yes.
Okay.
So if you become aware of such phenomenon, then you will be choosing your conversation, your friends, your networks, and the spaces you go into right. That is how come if you look at the brain, it radiates about 5 forms of waves, about 5. About 5 are different frequencies. What we call the brain in the skull radiate about 5
different frequencies.
The gamma, the alpha, the beta, the theta, and all at different ranges. So if you go into spaces where others are operating in, let's say, alpha, and you are gamma, you might find them below you. You'll feel frustrated. You feel like, I don't belong here because their conversation. But if you don't know that these things exist, you wouldn't be able to know why at a point you behave in a certain manner, because there was some kind of waves at play. And this is purely science. This is purely neuroscience. This is purely mind work. Because this is the evidence that science gave to the third mind that Napoleon Hills spoke about, that when 2 or 3 people meet in like-mindedness towards a purpose, a third mind is created. So if you are not aware that your brain radiates waves or emit waves and receive waves, it's one reason why people speak the way they do. It is not the speaking that has the challenge. It is what is stored. Their pathways. And the human brain is like a network. If those on air maybe they had opportunity, they could say it's a network like the spider web. The neurons, the new neurons can fire up to break you into new awareness. Then the older ones, or when you are born, the one you begin to scratch becomes the pathway. So it becomes the memory, what we will call memory, the pathways. So over a period of time, and the human brain matures at age 25. So by age 25, all that you have accumulated have become pathways. That is how come kids can learn 2 or 3 languages when they are younger. But you and I, when we start learning another, it's so difficult because exactly because it does ya can't brofwache, ya can't dialect che. The pathways have gone even deeper. You remember when CD era came? When it started, we had only unwritable CDs. Then we started having rewritable CDs. Meaning, when I copy the stuff on the CD, I can re-emboss another information on it. It's exactly how pathway works. But the deeper the burden of the CD, the difficult it is to rewrite it. You suppose I bonka then it becomes challenging. The
scratches and all of that comes on it.
Exactly. It's the same way our brain works. So that is how come. But the good news is that you can rewrite your pathways. That is the good news. But how you write it or how you rewrite it is how others explore Mastermind.
Interesting.
And the one that blew all of us is the magnetic field.
And that is being shared on our Facebook page, Class 91.3 FM. You check it out. The magnetic field.
The magnetic field of the human heart is 500 or so times that of the brain.
The human heart.
Yes.
Akume.
Yes.
Probably that's why the Bible talks about the human heart and the heart that can see so many things and it's evil. Oh, okay.
So that is the other aspect we want to bring to the awareness of your listeners, my viewers, that when you go into a mastermind and you only think that all the discussion must be on the cognitive level, which is only the head, we have forgotten the power of from the shoulder to the down, and beneath the neck is where your heart is held. The power of the human brain waves, the heart has got that almost over times 500 plus.
Hey, and yeah, come on, they do or do.
So it is why coaches who have background in somatic, who have backgrounds in ecology, mindfulness, ontology, neuroscience, we are able to say that we know that as we speak, science has established done deal. You have more than one brain.
Mm.
You have the head brain, the cephalic, the cardiac, the heart brain, and the enteric, your gut brain.
Mm.
So as a coach in a mastermind session, to make you benefit in that 2 hours is to bring you what we call congruency, adaptive intelligence, to bring all this, your 3 brains
together.
And bring that pool of the third mind, which becomes the adaptive intelligence, which is wisdom. Have you asked yourself, this morning I was listening to you, and I enjoyed when you were going all out. I said, when I come, I'll ask you a question. Have you asked yourself that we see our leaders coming out with this policy, that policy, but it does not result in any transformation? Do we think it's an accident?
So it seems to be more of a wishful thinking, something that, let me just hook the people on to, just like cocaine. You get it, try it for the very first time, you take it, it gives you that ecstasy. You want to take it the second time. So they've managed to, sell these ideas to us. People like it because, of course, who doesn't want new stuff? And they themselves are unable to implement the things they talked about.
So what actually occurs is, just like you are saying, is that they've been able to carve us to become so cognitive driven and leaving this part of our body in decision making. So a lot of times they think that we will like this. They don't feel how we connect to what they say they are talking about. So most of our leaders lack feeling wisdom.
They only think.
And unfortunately, any of these 3 brains can hijack the body. And that is why I'm talking about the pathways. What you consistently get each of these 3 brains to keep in memory can hijack the body. So what we are seeing, why do you think there is so much lack of empathy in our governance and our politics and our being? Why do you think? We were more empathetic. If anybody have lived in the village, if you meet any of our elderly people, 70 years, 75, 80 years, they were more empathetic than us.
It's more you.
Because they lived with their feelings and their heart than the cognitive.
The mind's up here.
Yes, the brain.
The brain.
The cephalic brain, which is the head brain. So, if you go into Masterminds and everybody is about the cognitive level, people don't know why ergonomics entered into engineering. Ergonomics is the safer use of technology. The safer. Ergonomics is psychology engineering. Meaning, how do you feel when you use the chair? Why do you think feeling and usability got into engineering? It's because human beings are just more than thinking. We feel. And the other part of it, what we call the gut brain, which is from your tongue to your intestine through your anus, forms your third brain called the gut brain, which is your intuitive self. In fact, the first brain that develops when you were a fetus is the gut brain. It's not even the heart or the head brain. In fact, the head brain is the last one that develops. So that is how come if you need to become aware the spaces you go into and ask yourself what kind of frequencies are at play. I know Adam Demanka will say, Scofray, sometimes I know how you feel lonely. Yes, sometimes I feel lonely. Bernard Calvin Clive says the same thing. Yes, I know I feel lonely. Because I aren't able to hold certain conversations with certain people. But when I meet Father Michael Lapsley, my trainer and now a good friend and confidant in healing of memories, that man is full of wisdom, deep. When I meet my classmates from Ado Coaching Global on Zoom, where we spend some time, there is some, because the concentration and resonation of vibration, we transcend certain level of being. So if you see, I'm not using certain level of thinking, certain level of what?
Being.
Because thinking is just an aspect of your being.
Actually,
So this is how Mastermind. How come that in school, when we form buddy mates or study buddies and co, some way somehow you get influence. If you have sharp brains, you get influence to want to study hard. It is not because they implant the intelligence into you. No, it is because the more we keep creating the third mind, the more you can also glean from it. That's what I'm saying. We are both receivers and transmitters. That is how the human being is.
It's very true. Even in the university, when they are forming these groups, people actually looking out for that sharp person out there so that they will be in the same group with the person. And really, so that I would want to be in the same study group with someone who, for one will not to demean anyone, who is not sharp or good in class. So this is a real case scenario on what you are educating us on this morning. Probably we may have to have this conversation at the national level. Let's now hijack GTV or any of the national televisions and teach our leaders that once they sit to think about Mother Ghana, they should add their heart to it.
They can't do it because nobody will be in there to facilitate that. It doesn't come by accident. You see, coaching is a private journey. Mandela is started to be one of the greatest leaders the world have ever produced. He had a coach in his corner, but you didn't know. He had somebody who was coaching him. You didn't know.
Interesting.
Barack Obama. In fact, Oprah Winfrey attributes her excellence to her coach, Martha Bex. She's been coached for 20 years. Do you think we know there is an industry called coaching in this country? We don't.
I did a coach.
So it is, and for me, I'm even concerned the school of thought of the coach you come from. I'm concerned about the school of thought of the coaching you come from. This week is International Coaching Week.
Okay.
And now the science that is entering into coaching has never happened before. So it is no more like, I said when I wanted. That is how come Fortune 100, FTSE 100 and co. If the moment you are sent to become a CEO, it is the company's policy to either two things. If you already have got a coach, they invest, absorb the cost. If you don't have, they assign you one. Go to Silicon Valley. All the sharp brains, a lot of them share a coach in common. So if I'm moderating a mastermind like I'll be doing on Saturday,
okay,
I am not there to teach you anything. Kofi here, if you come to the depth of how we have abused the word powerful, so I'm trying to find a proper synonym to describe how amazing we are as human beings. It will blow your mind. So the more we keep on taking decisions without our heart in them, this continent, this part of our country, Ghana, will keep on. Why is it that when you pick the speeches of Nkrumah and line it up against the speeches of all our past leaders, why do you choose that of Nkrumah?
It emotes something. There's something that resonates with you when you pick that.
That is how you
speeches.
So you didn't use any word. You said resonate. Resonate is a frequency term. Resonation is a frequency. It's communication term. It's engineering term. Resonate. Martin Luther King's speech.
I have a dream.
I have a dream. In fact, we study it. We study. In communication, you study, you break it to find out does it have all the communication parameters. They did appeal to the heart. There was in the church of. We study it because that is how transformation occurs. And all that we are also showcasing our wording. I don't like junk music. I can love the instrumental. The moment I get to hear the words are full of that, I will set it apart and discard it. I don't read certain stuffs. Why? Because I know the impact of those stuffs on me. One of the aspects we've not paid attention is the intuitive self.
Hmm.
Ask our mothers, how do they sometimes get to know their kids are hungry, even when they are not there? Those ones are not a matter of the heart or the head. They are a matter of the gut.
So I'm not gonna come to know.
And she wouldn't be able to even to say, I feel like, no, he says, I sense. When we're talking about gutsy and intuitive feelings, we use the word sense. When it's about the heart, feel. And when it's about, there's a part which is the head brain, we say think. So I can track your conversation and tell you that at this point in time, you are using your heart to speak. You're using your heart to speak. You're using your gut to speak. But the magnificency of all these three brains you have is when they are aligned. We call it congruency. And when they are aligned, that adaptive intelligence comes forth, which is the third mind, comes forth for you to explore who you are. So people don't design things for designing's sake. So if you go to Apple, they don't deal with what, when, and who. They deal with why. Because in the question of why, it sets the human being apart and brings them together to bring a purpose. So all these is why great men are choosing to belong to masterminds, great men and women. We don't teach there. You allow people to explore. We don't compete in mastermind. We contribute. We share. Because in the sharing, it's more or less like if I have one grain of maize, I put it there, you also bring yours, then it becomes a pool. And now we can glean from gradually. So this is how, whether we like it or not, we get shaped by people we surround ourselves with.
So you know what? Let them come and learn more on Saturday. You have an event on Saturday.
Yes.
Why is it coming off?
We are having a breakfast mastermind session at Edukrom in one of the serene new hotels on the mountains.
Okay.
Even the choice of the location is purposeful. The choice of the location is purposeful. The intent that you even drive from Accra. Have you ever felt, I don't know, because I come from a Accra, so I don't know if you have felt this before. Have you ever felt that the moment you drive past any of the toll booth connecting out of Accra, let's say you drive that of Ayimensa, you drive that of, I think there's a last one going to the Adan area. Okay. Then there is, let's say, the Kaswa. Have you noticed that anytime you drive past those toll booths, suddenly your shoulders calm down?
There's one corner I mostly spend my time, also up on the mountains. That's the Patmos retreat center.
Okay, so the moment you exit the toll booth, anybody listening or watching, I'm giving you the awareness to begin to check, because the frequency of the city is full of junk. We are all in the haste. So the moment you exit and you're entering into, we call it ecology. So that's what some of us, what we do, we don't take things for granted. That the moment you exit the ecology of this city, the breeze, the warmth, the love of the mountains embraces you. Okay. So anytime I'm driving back to Accra, then I begin to assume that frequency in Accra, your life must be hustling and bustle and stuff. That is how come, unfortunately. And we are in the critical time and era too, my brother. Critical time and era. So check our languaging. Something is occurring, but nobody wants to pay attention and observe.
Some negative energy, so with it vibrate.
Excessively negative. Look, take your time and associate your cognitive thoughts from all that is happening, and begin to feel about what is happening and see. Begin to connect and see, would your intuition feel the space to dissipate? It wouldn't. It gets blocked. You say, "God, did cry on me?"
My time is up. Grateful.
So basically, that's what we're doing in the mastermind on Grapim Ridge, and we do it before we do. It's a journey between neuroscience, ontology, ecology, mindfulness, bridging all together. I want to leave you with one question. What is the fragrance of your personality?
Hey, first it was fragrance.
What is the fragrance of your personality? Not the cologne you use. What do you, if you are perfume, what is the fragrance that you radiate?
Are you Tom Ford? Are you Givenchy? Are you?
Thank you. So anybody interested, it's for a cool value exchange of 800 Ghana cedis. Both lunch, breakfast, tourist destination visit, and all that. And if you're interested, just give me a call. 0243 085 932. 0243 085 932.
Just get in touch. This one says, Scofray, good morning to you. I'm speechless now. He is giving for free the secret to success. All of these laws are in the Bible, but are never taught in our churches. David, Paul, and Jesus were careful with them. Matthias from Ajikojo brought in that message there. Kofi, good morning to you. Good morning, my brother. Alexander, you're not done with your message yet. Keep on typing. I'll surely come back to the messages and read them. But guys, this is where I part company with you. He is a coach, a certified one, international one. Scofray Nana Yaw Yeboah. Once a while joins us in studio. You know, want to talk about issues that affect human beings and our thinking and how we can shape with Scofray, please ask your resource person whether he has read any Paulo. You meant Paulo Colley's books. Thanks, Alexander from Teshinungwa. I may have to find out from him, Alexander. Thank you so much. I know I owe our listeners a lot of messages reading, but I apologize. And today I've not read your messages. Forgive me, Achu and his squad. Tomorrow I'll go and look for all those messages and clear them. My name is Kofi Opunasamo. To the entire production team, thank you so much for the support. Robert Israel, Nimama, Laura Lawson, and of course to you, Adam, Emmanuel, Janice, Karim. My name is Kofi Opunasamo. To you, our listeners out there, you make this show what it is. God willing, tomorrow, when we are given a new life, I'll surely be here to serve you another positive-minded, positive, energized morning show. Until then, let's all have dreams. I'm out.
Pleasure to present to you Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. I am happy to join with you today